So we're going to start off where the majority of all of us start off within our business day, within Outlook.
So one of the newest things in Outlook 2010 is the conversation view. And that's the ability to keep all the different messages in a conversation linked together. And this does a few different things for you. The first thing it does is it allows you to view less mail in your inbox because the conversations are grouped together and you see the subject of the message and the latest message, but not all the different conversations underneath. So we've seen a significant drop in the amount of mail that you have to look at in your inbox.
So how does it know?
It actually links it together. There's a new conversation ID. And so even if someone changes the subject, it still keeps the same, it knows that it's still the same conversation. And it will keep tracks of different forks in the conversation. So if someone were to add an attachment or add somebody new to the message, it will actually keep track of that. Now one of the nice things about it is when you have an email conversation back and forth and there's a lot of different emails, you only really need the last email, the newest one, because the other emails are contained in the replies to the latest and greatest email.
So it's kind of like looking at the back of a novel.
Correct. And so we've actually added a new feature in Office 2010 called Cleanup. And it gives you the ability to clean up the unneeded messages in your inbox, and it moves them to your deleted items folder by default. So I'm not going to demo it, but I'm going to show you. Up here is the Cleanup button. And when I click on it, you see Cleanup Conversation, Cleanup Folder, and Cleanup Subfolders. So clearly, like I said, you can clean up just a single conversation. You can run it on a folder. What I like to do is I run it, when I first installed Office 2010, I ran it on my entire inbox. And it deleted about 700 messages right off the bat that I didn't need. That saves me space, it saves room in my inbox, and it really keeps my inbox clean and a lot better.
So when you clean up the conversation, where do those emails go?
They go into your delete items folder, and that's actually configurable. And so you can get them back. They're not gone forever unless you configure it that way. So you see the subject of this message, bagels in the gallery. And this is an example of one of the emails that I get all the time that I don't really care about. I'm on the road, I'm traveling, I'm not going to run downstairs and get bagels. And there's already been 4 email messages on this thread. I'm sure there's going to be more coming in because people really like bagels. But I don't want to see it. I just want to ignore that conversation. And so in Outlook 2010, we have a new feature called Ignore. And when I click on Ignore, it's going to take all the messages I've already received about that conversation and all future messages, and it's going to move them into my deleted items folder by default. So when I click on Ignore here, it says the selected conversation, all future messages will be moved to the deleted items folder. I'm going to click Ignore Conversation, and that message is gone. And if a new message comes in about the bagels in the galley, I will not have to see them at all. Something else that's new in Outlook 2010 is the idea of mail tips. And mail tips are information that you get before you send a message. And what it does is it enables you to take action if there's something that's going to happen before you send this message. In previous versions, for example, let's say you're going to send an email to someone and you find out that they have an out of office. Well, in the past, you had to type up the email, do it all, and then send it to that person, and then suddenly a minute later, you get an email back saying, oh, that person's out of the office. So now what do you have to do? You have to go back to your sent items, find the message, forward it to the people that are filling in for that person while they're on vacation or wherever they are, and then say, oh, sorry, I sent this to so-and-so, he's on vacation, can you help me with this, right? That takes time. Now, as soon as I start typing this message to Karen, for example, I see, she says, hi, thanks, I'm out of office, and she's going to be out for the next 3 weeks. That tells me sending this email to Karen is not going to do me any good. Some people will provide a much better out of office and will actually say, please contact so-and-so on my team or send this email or call my cell phone. And if she'd provided that information, I could have very easily, right here in this message, added the people on her team that she'd like me to copy instead of her. So now that just saved me quite a bit of time from having to create that message and then resend it to the people that actually care. And there's actually quite a few different types of mail tips, and you can actually write your own mail tips. If there's things inside of your enterprise or your organization that would benefit from having mail tips type scenarios, you can extend it and create your own, or partners can as well. So I'm going to type this email here to Contoso full-time employees. Down here it says Contoso full-time employees, which was the alias that I tried to send it to. And it says you're about to send an email to all employees in the company. You may want to revise the address links before sending. This is actually a custom mail tip that's been created for this organization. Up at the top here, you'll also see it says Contoso full-time employees, contains 31 recipients. So it gives me an idea of how many people I'm actually sending this to before I hit send, so that I don't actually send the bagel email, say, out to all the people in the company or something like that. So it gives me a nice visual warning of what I'm about to do. It doesn't stop me from doing anything or stop me from doing something I shouldn't do, but it gives me a nice visual warning before I hit send.
I'm trying to give you actionable information so you can avoid the mistake before making the mistake.
Exactly. Or just have, it's not always a mistake, just so you can make the right decision and, like I described earlier, craft the right email so that you can save some time. Something else that's new in Outlook 2010 is the social connector. When I click on an email, for example, this one, I can see the email that I've had back and forth with Eric. And if I clicked on these different links, I could actually see RSS feeds about this person. I can see other mail from this person, meeting requests, actual just attachments they sent me. And in the future, we're actually going to see Facebook, LinkedIn, that type of information in this connector as well.
The more information that you collaborate, the more information is then presented in that tab.
Right. So when the people you work with the most, that's where the most information is going to be provided for them. So another great new feature, and this is one that I use a lot, is quick steps. For example, let's say that I wanted to take this email from Eric and just forward it to my manager. Now with a single click up here in the ribbon where it says to manager, I can click on it and it takes that email, it knows who my manager is, and it gets the email ready to go.
It almost sounds like they're macros for Outlook.
It is. It's exactly like macros for Outlook. And so it takes things that you can do that you typically take multiple clicks and multiple steps, and it lets you do them with a single click many times.
So how painful is it doing it the old way?
It's very painful. So think about today when you're having an email conversation and then somebody says, you know what, we can't solve this problem over email. We really need to have a phone call, or, a conference call about it. So what do you have to do? You have to go in to Outlook and create a new meeting request, and then you've got to take the people, let's say there's a lot of people on there and you don't want to type them all in. You have to copy the recipients from the mail message, paste them in the meeting request, copy the subject line over, paste it in, and then come back. And I always like to include the original thread, so I would copy the original thread, paste that in the meeting request, and then now finally you're ready to hit send. In Outlook 2010, you can actually do that exact same thing in a single click. So this meeting button up here that points to the calendar, when I click on it, it brings up a brand new meeting request. It already has all the recipients from the original email on it. It's got the original subject line from the message on it, and it also has the text from the email right here in the message body itself. Now let's say I also want to make that a conference call. Here at Microsoft, we use Office Communication Server, and so with a single click up here in the ribbon, when I click conference call, it talks to the Office Communication Server, and then when I scroll down here, you'll see that it provides the dial information right here in the meeting request with a single click.
The great thing is you didn't even have to log into another system. It was already in the ribbon.
Exactly.